Hello everybody, this is Yo from Family Camp Tent Site, and in this video I want to present my new Snow Peak Alpha Breeze tent which you see behind me. My story with this tent is the following. I have been in the mountains just 10 days ago. I spent 19 days in total in the Italian Alps. First in the Livigno area, and then I moved in the Dolomites, and I use this tent that you see behind me. I was in the regular camping places and I was very busy organizing my tours, and also those places were quite busy and I didn't have really good chance to make a proper overview of the features of this tent. So I am now here in the garden with my daughter, and I hope I shall be able to show all the essential features of this tent, because the weather is not so good, it's a bit windy as well, and maybe the sound is not good. So let's start. I shall start first with the inner tent that you see here. So this is the tent without the fly, and then you can understand its structure a bit better and realize that it's really difficult to put this tent into any particular group. As you see from this perspective, this is the main door and it's almost vertical. Also you have poles on the sides that make the side walls almost vertical. The same is on the other side, as you will see. And only the rear side of the tent is completely angled. So if you would want to put it in any of the groups, I would say it's closer to a cabin style tent than to any other group. But when you put the fly on, it looks completely different, because there are two vestibules, one on the front and one on the back. I shall come to this later. First, about the frame that you have here. I'm not showing how to set this tent up. I just did it a few minutes ago and it was easy. You have only 4 main poles here. 2 of them are on the side, and as you see they are enormously thick. This is aluminum. Then there is one ridge pole over there and one pole that is the longest of all. It makes the front of the tent vertical. You basically start with this ridge pole, put it into the sleeve, then you raise these 2 side poles and put the ridge pole through the side poles. And after that you put in place this front long pole. The poles attach to the tent base through a very unique pin and ring system. I shall try to show you maybe here, it's easier. As you see, so attaching is easy. Then you have a few clips on the sides, on the places where the poles cross each other. You have these loops with Velcro, and on the top there are sleeves. The structure is very strong and very stable. You can actually move this tent completely to one place to another, even when the fly is on. In fact, I did this when I was in Livigno. I didn't have a good internet connection, so I wanted to move the tent to another position, and then I moved it together with the fly. There was one person from England and his wife, and I simply removed the stakes and we moved the complete tent from one place to another. This is also useful if you want to, for example, to dry the tent. You simply remove the stakes, like what I am doing here, and you can now rotate and turn it upside down or to the side so that the tent dries. So this is a freestanding tent as long as it is without the fly. When you put the fly in place, then of course you have two vestibules, and those must be staked to be fully functional. Now I shall say a few words, but let me first fix it in place because it's a bit windy, it could start flying around. I shall say a few words about the doors. You have them four. This is the front door, then there are two identical doors on the side, and one rear door which is again huge. All these four doors are actually double layer type, so you have, I shall show you, you have this full size mesh from outside, and there is of course full size panel from inside, and the same is on all four doors. So as you see from here, the tent without the fly is all taffeta, and when the doors are closed with panels you have taffeta everywhere, but it is breathable, and with these mesh doors, when you remove taffeta, I mean panels on the doors, you can have ventilation in all four directions. But they have also added vents here. I shall show you. When I step inside, you have these triangular vents from inside with mesh, fixed mesh, and then with these zippered panels. So inside you have several loops. I added one cord, I used it to hang my stuff to dry it, and there are two pockets, one set up here and one is on the other side. I indeed use them, they are useful. The floor is bathtub style, as you see here, and I think this would be practically all that I wanted to say now. I shall try now to put the fly on. This is a bit tricky, especially when it is windy and the fly is really huge. So now I have put the fly on, and you see the tent looks quite different. I was able to do this alone, but it's not so easy. It is massive. It has four doors, and you have to orient the fly properly before you put it. I shall show you one trick how to do this if you are in a situation to do this alone and if you are in a rush. So there is a Snow Peak logo and name here. So this is the main entrance, and the trick is that you position the fly so that this inscription goes to the right corner on the main, on the next to the entrance. Now you see how it looks. So this is, I don't have actually the place here because of these bushes. So this is a huge front vestibule, and there is another one on the rear side, which is again with the Snow Peak inscription, so don't get confused. It is on the right side again, but this is the rear vestibule, and here is how it looks inside. Not a big space. This is just for shoes, boots and such stuff. Now you can also see the doors on the vestibule itself. That matches those inner doors that you can use during the night if you don't like to wrestle with the vestibules. And of course you have two fly vents with stiffeners that match the inner vents. Another one is on the other side. So I shall now get inside and show the tent again, and to say a few words about ventilation. So this is a full taffeta tent, and it is breathable, but there are no mesh areas unless you open these inner vents, then these inner doors. But when you do this, look what you have. You have huge mesh areas around, and you can have as much ventilation as you want. There is one more detail here that I want to point out. If you don't want to keep this front door completely with mesh, you can unzip the panel till this height and then fix it in place with these toggles and loops, and then you will have long floor vents. This is on the front side and also on the rear side. So again, although this tent has taffeta everywhere, you can actually make it as ventilated as you want. I stress again, I was with it in the Alps, and during the night we had temperature around 0 degrees. It was around the elevation 1900 meters in Livigno, and during the day it was close to 30. Sometimes I was taking a rest during the day, and I would put mesh everywhere around, and then I did really feel too hot in this tent. During the night, of course, I kept everything closed. Regarding condensation, I want to stress that I have never had any condensation on the inner taffeta tent. Of course, on the underside of the fly, condensation is always present. You cannot avoid it in any case. Regarding waterproof rating, from what I remember, it is 1800 minimum for the fly and 3000 for the floor. I have been with this tent in Livigno in particular. In one occasion we had rain for 11 hours with some short interruptions. So this was during the night. I went to bed at 9 in the evening, and then at 9 in the morning it was still raining. It was a thunderstorm with lightning and all that you can imagine. But I have never had any drop of water inside. So this tent is simply incredible. It is nicely ventilated, regardless of the fact that you have full taffeta above you, inner tent, and it is completely reliable. It was rock solid. I was in a quite windy position in the camp. When I moved to the Dolomites, it was again every day with rain, so this practically ruined my plans there, and I couldn't do any long tours. But again, the tent was completely dry inside. So all in all, this is really an excellent tent. It's for Snow Peak, I would say moderate price. I think around $500 on the market. Totally worth the money. This is all that I can say. So I think I shall conclude this review with here, and you will have in the description of this video, you will have link to my post in the site where you will see pictures from the camps that I mentioned in the Alps. And this is my review in the site I'm in, so you can ask questions if you have. I shall be happy to answer.